Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Spec Ops The Line on FUBAR difficulty, and this is my guide and walkthrough. We're currently on chapter 14 of 15 of the PC version, and this is entitled The Bridge. So once you jump down here, you're going to get yourself in a checkpoint, and remember, you're not going to get a checkpoint for a very long time. Personally, this took me an hour and a half to get to the first checkpoint, and it's quite hard. But there are ways to minimize how hard it is. It's actually, if you play by the rules that I'm going to set forward to you, you shouldn't have that hard of a time clearing this section. The only part that's a little difficult is the end, but again, I'll try to impart all of the knowledge that I have, and I will give it to you. I will provide you with the tools that you need to get clear of this checkpoint because it's tough. There's a couple of rough checkpoints in this chapter. It's probably the hardest chapter of the game. Okay, rule number one, never assign Adams a target ever, because if you assign him targets, he will move, and we want him to more or less keep around us at all times so that he is not out anywhere where we won't be able to get to him and put us in harm's way and pretty much end our session is pretty much what's going to happen. So even if you don't have Adams move around and have enemies for him to kill, he still does move around a little bit, but you'll notice that he keeps into the quadrant that you're in, provided that you don't send him on any mission somewhere else on the map or some other place. And even though we're trying to keep him out of harm's way as much as possible, this is a gunfight. He's going to get attention put towards him at some point, and don't be surprised if he falls in combat even though you haven't assigned any targets for him to kill. It just happens. For instance, one time he was hiding behind cover and he was right next to a propane tank. The propane tank burst and that put him into the death bleed out screen. Okay, so rule number one, like I said, don't assign targets to kill. Just use your 417 and use it to turn your enemy's brains to black chunks. It's what we're primarily going to be doing. Now, if you push forward too fast on this fight, you're going to have enemies on balconies to the left. Now, if my understanding is correct, you also do have to contend with grenades sometimes. They don't spam them, which is nice. Yes, and Adams fell down. I don't know if that was the result of me being too far away and him getting overridden, but this is a nice area because you actually end up spawning more enemies that you ordinarily wouldn't spawn by killing sets of... You'll kill, like, this whole group is a spawn, and once they're killed, you're actually going to have enemies spawn that would ordinarily spawn by the normal progression of you moving down the map and passing over tripwire points. Now, there is an exception to that at the end, but primarily that's what goes on. So you want to bring the enemies to you at all times at the beginning. Now, where this gets a little bit difficult is when enemies start jumping on the turret. It's difficult to deal with. And I underestimated the turret a couple times, and I was promptly mowed down by it. So see, just don't push it. Do not push your luck. I also think Adams gets knocked down over here on my successful run of this, but this weapon is very good. I mean, it's extremely good. It's real easy to get headshots on enemies. It's pretty... Oh, up there, I think there is a point of impact where you can knock sand down on an enemy up there, if you wanted to. Now, the guys that are on the balconies they do actually jump down. So, if you stay at the beginning of the stage, that first area in the garage area over there, what you'll find happen is that the guys... Do you know the guy I headshotted on the second level a moment ago? He will actually jump him and the other guy on the balcony above him. They will, if you remain at the beginning of the stage in safety, they will actually, even they will come to you. They'll jump down from their perches and they will come to you, and you can safely kill them from behind cover. And last time I went to the left. This time I'm going to prescribe going over here to the right. It's much better. However, there's only so much you can do on the left, and there's only so much you can do on the right, because hitting the guy behind the turret, it can be nightmarish. And what I mean by that is you're trying to zoom in and find him, right? And he'll mow you down. He'll just mow you down. And the problem about this is that if enemies leave the turret, different enemies will see fit to get on the turret. So you'll have enemies continue to jump on the turret. And it's kind of irksome, very, very bothersome and annoying. But you do have grenades at your disposal. I would get as close as you possibly. Again, don't assign him to do anything. Just leave him be. So what you want to do is you want to stay to one side. You don't want to stay in the middle, because if you ever have to get out of the way, sprinting to the left or to the right, with the awkwardness of how the slip out mechanic works in this game, it can end in your demise very quickly. So if you're on the left and you're having problems getting a good sightline on enemies, go to the right, and vice versa. You know, if you're over here where we are and things just aren't working out the way you'd like them to, try very carefully threading your way back to the other side like I'm doing right now. And there aren't that many enemies left, quite honestly. So what I'm going to try to do, see, there's a couple of enemies down the way over there. I'm pressed up a little bit too much against this cover over here, so I'm not able to do this. But how are you going to be able to get through this, you might ask? Like, because a lot of people have different preferences to what weapons they want. A lot of these weapons, anything that I'm doing with this gun over here, a lot of the times I'm not even using the scope. So it can be accomplished with other weapons. I just prefer to have a little bit of a zoom. 4x zoom, it's not the greatest. I think the grenade actually stuck to him. Yeah, because he blew up. Okay, now this is kind of the hard part. What I think the game wants you to do is it wants you to jump onto the turret, flip it around, and then start shooting. I underestimated the number of enemies that come out of this last area. And the way that they spawn and then spread and go in different directions, it makes it very difficult to recommend a certain way of handling this situation, because you do have to cross a tripwire. So what I would recommend is cross the tripwire and cross it no further, and then afterwards it's in God's hands, so to speak, because if you cross a tripwire point and then fall back, I'm gonna try to spawn kill a couple of enemies. See, you could, I wish I had done a little bit better of a job of doing that, but who knows? Who really knows? But you know, the thing is too, what I dislike about this is that the grenade has to bounce. It would bounce, so I don't think that you would be able to spawn kill enemies very well, unless perhaps you threw the sticky grenade nearabouts to where they're spawned before you cross the tripwire point. So if you're having problems, you might want to try doing that. That might work. Now, it's however you do it, you're going to find yourself getting really stressed when you have a bunch of enemies running out of that room. So should you jump on the turret, then it's a death sentence. You might be able to kill some enemies, but they're going to be going around in different spots, and they're going to get a line on you, and it's not going to be good. Now, you want to play this really carefully, though, and by the time you get to here, you don't need to worry, because you've just got a couple of elites dug into the to this restaurant or bar area over here. All you need to do is just use your grenades or anything like that. But oh, there's 3 of them. Okay, I'm sorry. There are 3 of these guys in here, and there may be one left too. But The thing about the last spawn is that you want to cross it no further, and ideally try to spawn kill some enemies with a frag grenade or with a sticky grenade, or stun them and then use a grenade from the Scar H assault rifle. Because the thing is, once you get to the last quadrant where that final spawn is, I don't think that even if you fell back, I don't think Lugo would fall back as well. So you can't ask him to rejoin you if you fall back. So those would be my recommendations then for that first and difficult fight. So that is a hard section, very difficult, and now we're going to be going up here, resting on a checkpoint, and then going on to the next part of the chapter. Another uphill battle. We've got some pretty difficult shit coming up, guys. So I really want to get you ready for some hard shit. The machinations of your destructions are all laid out for you. The game is gonna fight you to the end to prevent you and push you back from winning. So. And it's represented pretty well by this battle up here, which is an uphill battle, literally. So after you get to the tower, as we clearly are, you want to take out the mortar with the RPG. So just use the RPG to take out the aforementioned tower, and then you're going to get a checkpoint. And this part over here is quite difficult because you've got throughout this whole sequence a mounted gun shooting at you the entire time. It's nowhere near impossible to get from place to place, but before you sprint from one area to the next, you want to make sure that you've cleared out any enemies near where you're located and where you're bound to go. So over here, it's pretty much up to you. You could try to take out the guy behind the turret with the RPG over here. I believe you've got at least 2 shots with the RPG post checkpoint. What I would do though with the RPG is I would take out any enemies to the left, use some grenades. We're not going to use too many grenades until the final checkpoint. So save those up until you get there. There's also going to be a grenade launcher, and if you've got the Scar H, it's not a great name, the Scar H, if you've got the Scar H, that also has grenades. So yeah, things like what's coming up is pretty difficult. So to secure your next checkpoint, you've got to take over the bunker, which sounds simple, but it's not. Assigning Adam's targets over here to kill is not unfeasible. You can do that without him having too much of a problem, I wouldn't say. I am at some point going to lose my 417, and I wish I had held on to it, but the last barrage of enemies I think is best dealt with the grenade launcher. Not the one on the Scar, but the one that I'll show you where it is. It's located next to the it's either inside or like right outside of the bunker. In any case, I'll show you where it is. So you just want to keep pushing forward. Most of this chapter is just slow progress, and you are going to find yourself, trying to sprint from one area to the next and getting mowed down. But it's more reasonable than you might fear that it would be, and I did not have many problems from my teammate over here falling in combat, quite honestly. Taking out the guys behind the turret is an exercise in futility sometimes, because what happens is more enemies just come to replace the one that you've just killed. So your best course of action is to clear out anybody in the nearby vicinity and then just sprint from cover to cover. Always use that SWAT turn though, because it's the most fluid-like motion that you can do in the game, and not have any clunkiness involved. So, like, I'll show you. You always want to be doing things like that. That will get you from place to place as safely as possible. It's not going to give you a whole bunch of iframes or anything like that. It's just going to ensure that you're not just clipping against things and kind of tripping over them and and you're just having your foot in your mouth seemingly. So at this point, what you want to do is chuck into that tower a grenade. I think the guy that was manning the turret saw me do it and he ran out. So the turret guy is probably the guy that I'm going to come over here, and I actually discovered a fourth animation. So it looks like the elites, when you deal with the elites, they have different animations too that we haven't seen, because you don't see them all too much on this campaign. I like that one quite a bit. You snap their neck like that. Okay, so once he's finished off, you want to jump onto the turret. You're going to get a checkpoint though. So once you've entered and taken control of this bunker, you are going to get a checkpoint. So if you need to, crouch. Otherwise, just take care of everybody that's straight ahead of you. You can even assign targets for Adams. There's also that sniper there that I just headshotted. So he spawns once you kill like 3 or 4 enemies. You'll see him spawning. I don't think he can hit you from where we're at, but you will want to take him out. Now we've got a nice checkpoint, right? We've got a fairly good situation. We finally got halfway up the hill, but the last checkpoint is pretty rough, and I thought that they gave you an additional checkpoint where they just simply don't. Because I could have swore that they give you a checkpoint. So, and it's not too much that you have to do, admittedly. It's just a lot of hard stuff that you have to do. So anyway, so beyond the barricade there, you will find some more elites. They're probably too far to the right for us to hit them with the turret, though. A bit of a shame that we had a fallen comrade over here, but I think with the Scar H's grenade launcher, we can clear up anybody in this area, and then safely give a heal to Adams. So what you're going to be doing when you do get to the turret section, you're going to be going on it, jumping off, sniping some folks from different areas outside of the reach of the turret, coming back on when new waves come, because the second wave that comes in the background is right in front of the turret, so you can mow them down. Now, this is the position of the grenade launcher over here. I would highly recommend that you pick this up. It carries, I believe, 12. See, this should be the next spawn of these guys over here. Or this is just elites from the other area that have already spawned jumping over the barricade. It's one of the two. But once everybody's killed, you do get a checkpoint. So in theory, I didn't have to revive my teammate. But the good thing about that's where I left it. Did I must have left it or something. The 417 is extended its use anyway. But once you get the checkpoint over here, and the door opens and you see Lugo. Lugo was hanged by some of these scants. What are they called? Looters or something? I'm not sure, but now this is the final checkpoint. This is the final push. Now, when the heavy comes out, if you hit him once with the rocket launcher, or excuse me, with the grenade launcher, he'll shield his head and get stunned, and that's when you want to capitalize and shoot him like the 4 or 5 times that you need to shoot him additionally to kill him. Now, I do need to say that if at any point, if you want to, before you see where that guy is, if you go up the hill, there are a couple of enemies around a corner. Now, this area does seal off if you go up that hill too far, but if you want, you can come in here, use all of the grenades that you want from the grenade launcher, and you can go back to where the grenade launcher originally was. Remember where I showed you it was? And you can get a fresh clip of grenades if you want to. That's what I was doing, but I came up here one time, and on my successful try, they actually sealed the door on me. So just remember that everything repopulates in the area. There's also an ammo box that will give you some more grenades for your grenade launcher too. So you can be coming up to this area, this final area, with 12 grenades. So, and I'm gonna go down here. You'll see me go down to the door because I'm going back to get those grenades, but they sealed the world off on me. So just remember that if you want to, you can go get the grenades. In fact, this should give us some grenades over here. So yeah, see 2 grenades. So we've got a decent amount. We've got some frag grenades too. Pass on the shotgun if I were you. But now we're going to go up this hill and do the SWAT turn along several pieces of cover. You immediately want to throw grenades. If you've got stun grenades, you want to throw those first to blind everybody. You want to do a grenade tossing fest over here for yourself. And so throw as many grenades as you can to cluster kill as many good folk in as you can. And then what you want to do is then safely use the grenade launcher to kill the heavies and any outstanding stragglers. Now, how do you go about it unsafely? Unsafely going about it would be standing too close to where the heavy is, because his A12 can put you down very quickly. In fact, you saw how much damage I received from his A4 when he wasn't even that close to me. So if you want to stand here, this is a good spot. Just don't go too far to the left because you can get hit. The heavy's down, and then we've just got a couple of stragglers. Don't test them too much. You'll see how hard they hit. But all of this on the same checkpoint. So do you remember the moment when the heavy burst through the door? If you die over here, you go right back to right before that. So you've got to do all that over again. Fortunately, I didn't need too many grenades in the end, and that's a cleared chapter. That's a damned hard chapter. Damn hard game. Pretty much the final chapter of the game if you don't intend to do the epilogue. Please take care of yourselves. I hope that this video helped you out. Chapter 14 is indeed a rough chapter, and I will see you for the 15th video for chapter 14. This is Bick from Bick Benedict Productions. Please take care.